favorite. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Just a few seconds. All right, so I'm live on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. I hope you're doing amazing. So this live today is about how to be aligned. Ramadan Kareem to everyone who's watching. I hope you had a beautiful start of this wonderful holiday. And as I mentioned, today we'll be talking about how to be aligned in the spirit, in the energy of Ramadan, in the energy of self-reflection, of being better, of pausing that mad rush of life, of desire, of wanting more, on creating more. How is it that we can be aligned in everything that we do? And being aligned is a word that is thrown left, right, and center, but what does it really mean? And how is it that can serve you? And as you know, anything about me, all these lives are practical workshops. So I prepare lots of points, and you will walk away with clarity. If you feel like you're confused right now, thank you, Kasim. If you feel like you are disconnected from your purpose, if you feel like you are disconnected from your purpose, not only that, if you feel like you don't know what's important to you in life, if you feel like you're drifting, if you feel like there's some conflicting feelings within you, this life is for you. This is a workshop, a powerful workshop that is going to help you understand yourself, because every purpose and of any piece of motivational and transformational or personal growth piece of information out there is about you helping you understanding yourself. And by the way, you guys, if you watch any kind of personal growth videos and they don't help you better understand yourself, then that is a useless, selfish piece of content. Because the goal of personal growth is what is this buzzword, personal growth? What is this all about? The goal is for you to help you understand yourself, period. If whatever you're watching, or even if you're watching this live today, is not helping you to understand yourself, this was my job. I failed. I failed, and I have to learn to deliver better workshops. Okay, great. So in exactly 2 minutes, we will dive in. In the meantime, YouTube, TikTok, I want you to let me know where you're tuning in from. How are you today? And how was the start of your Ramadan? What's the feeling? What's the intention? What is it that you want for yourself during Ramadan? Do you have the intention of forgiving someone? Do you have the intention of practicing gratitude this month? What we are okay, wonderful, Sandav. What is one thing that you want to succeed or to create or to focus on this holy month? Because even for those who are not celebrate, I am born Orthodox. I think it's a beautiful time for us to set the intention. Nothing says feeling sleepy most of the time. I got it. You're fasting, Mohammed. That's amazing. Nope. Great. Well, I see that very few people set an intention. And why not set an intention for this month? Nothing, just pray. Okay, great. So today, this life is about how to be aligned. So first of all, what does it mean to be aligned? Because we hear this word everywhere, and how can it serve you? And the goal is for you to walk away from this life with clear understanding and hopefully some transformation when it comes to alignment. So being aligned is basically acting in accordance with your values. Now, what are values? We all, okay, every single, let's think of a human being as a country. So every single country in the world has a constitution or a set of rules according to which this country is operating. Even a company will have a set of rules, things you can do, things you cannot do, that company or that country is operating by. Personal values are those operating rules. So we all have personal values. It's like those rules according to which I function as a human being. Now, when we are in a state, when we're in a country, when we are in a company, those rules of what we can do and what we cannot do are very obvious. Because if you live in a country and you do things that are against those rules, what happens? You immediately have consequences. You go to jail, or in case of the UAE, you might even be expelled and thrown out of the country. So respecting those rules of a country or a company, and equally in a company, if you don't respect the rules, you'll be fired very quickly. So we know very well how to respect the rules of a country, of a company. Now the question is, do you respect your own rules? Do you respect your own values? And the answer is, oftentimes people would say, Leo, I don't even know what you're talking about. What kind of rules do you mean? When I'm saying personal values, it's just like a country's constitution or rules, it's just like a company's rules as well. Now, my question is, how often and how well are you respecting your own inner values, your own inner rules? Are you connected to that? So many people, when I ask this question, many people say, Leo, I don't even know what my values are. I don't even know what this means. So I'm curious, how many of you, we have almost 300 people on this live, how many of you are connected with that set of rules within yourself? So I am trying to respect them, but it's really hard. Yes, I understand. None, After says. What's in your hands? It's just my thoughts. I'm playing with that. All right. So Shaima says, personal values, in my opinion, is being honest and truthful and do what you believe. Shaima, those are your personal values. And thank you so much for sharing those. That means those are, so you mentioned personal values is being honest. So those are your personal values. Another thing to say about personal values, that they're very different and individual to other people, right? So there are universal values like respecting other people and so on, but then we have personal values. And today, being aligned means respecting your own personal values and how they can be wildly different. Somebody might value fun times and somebody might value peace and quiet. So those would be, are those bad values or good values? No, those are just very, very different values. So imagine if a person who values fun and excitement and a person who values highest peace and quiet, if they meet in the same place, they're not going to agree. But they're not going to agree because one wants to have fun and the other one wants to have peace and quiet. So in situations like that, we need to recognize that there are no good or bad personal values. That's number one. But at the same time, hello, Tajmal on YouTube, welcome. But at the same time, what we need to understand is that sometimes values can be very, very different from one person to the other. And we have to accept that somebody else's values might be just as valuable as your own, even though they're completely and entirely different. Okay? So great. So we're talking about values today. Support and love each other. Right? I love that. So we're talking about how to be aligned and what does alignment mean and how can it serve you. So as I mentioned, being aligned is acting in the external world according to your own inner values. If your value is respect, being respectful and being in a respectful environment. If your value is equality, being equal and fair to everybody and not discriminate. We are your values. Everybody has their own values, Heaven. Everybody has their own values. How to respect your values? Very good question, and we'll get there. Now we're just clarifying what being aligned means and how you can speak to your values. So, few things about values. Those are personal rules according to which you live, you do everything in life. And the crazy thing is that the values, even if you are aware of them or not. So the funny thing is you might have hidden values. Because we never stop. Like, how many times do people stop and say, well, what are my values? We don't do these things. And it's crazy because everything in life that you do or you don't do is to honor your values. That's it. It's period. Anytime you get upset, listen to this. Anytime you get upset or angry or you feel like you've been taken advantage of, is because a situation made you step on your personal values. So now imagine we walk around guided and pulled by our values at all times, and we don't even know what those values are. So the goal of this live today is to help you understand yourself. But the step one to understand yourself is what? Understand what are those rules that are guiding every single move in your life, every thought in your life, every action in your life. Every time you don't take action in your life, Everything is guided by your personal values. Those are the set of rules. Every time you feel misaligned, every time. So I'm just going to check, but bad values sometimes in some situations come true. Like we don't do anything wrong. There are no bad values, QO. So if those are bad things, those are not values. Those might be saboteurs or something like that. There are no bad values, doesn't exist. But the problem is we judge other people's values because they're different than ours. So that's where the judgment comes in. We say, well, you have bad values. No, those are just different values than yours. It doesn't mean that they are bad. As an example, if somebody values peace and quiet and somebody who values excitement and fun, they meet in the same place. One wants to play loud music, dance around, bounce around, make a lot of noise, and the other one just wants to sit quiet with the book. So if you put them in a room, guess what's going to happen? They're gonna start, if they are not aware that, listen, this person values fun, the other person values quiet. If they are not aware of their own values and the other person's values, what they're gonna do? They're gonna start fighting. Say you're bad, you're wrong, and so on and so forth. But the truth of the matter is there are no bad values. And when you don't get along with other people, oftentimes it's because you are not aware of your own values and their own values. And that's what creates conflict. Anyway, but today we're talking about alignment and how to live a life with inner peace. Because alignment is nothing but inner peace. You feel like nobody within you is fighting. If you all respect others' values, life would be way easier. It has to be mutual. Yes, Holly, absolutely, 100%. So that's a good point. Amr says, we have to respect our values of others, even if it's different. Great perspective. Shaima says, but don't you think collecting money despite people's needs or rights is bad values? Shaima, I'm not sure what you mean. Could you kindly expand a little further on that? Law says, how to balance between my values and being flexible. Fantastic question. And we're getting there somewhere. All right. So now we're clear what values are. Values are that those, let's say, you might be aware of those rules or they might be hidden from you. You might not even be aware of a personal set of rules that you follow in life. Now, if you are not aware, it's absolutely essential for you to do the work to understand what your personal values are. Now that you've done the work, you know what values you are. So the question is, what is the difference? What is the good balance between being flexible and following your values? When it comes to your values, not only knowing what your values are is important. Now, guys, this is very important information. Please pay attention. This is extremely important information, and this will help you become agreeable, become flexible without feeling like you're being used. Very important stuff right here. If you have a feeling any times that you're feeling used, this is it. This is how you're going to help stop yourself from feeling used and being in good relationships with other people. All right, very important. So not only is important for you to be aware of your values, what guides you, what are those rules, but also even more important is to know what is the priority of those values. What is for you number one, number two, number three, number four, number five, between 1 and 10? What's the most important? And the descendant values as well. Because why? Look, if in my life, for example, my values, so in a person's life, values don't really shift. If I have valued 10 things, pretty much my entire life, I'll be valuing those 10 things. However, having said that, depending on the season of my life I'm in, those values, let's say what I value at 20 years old at number 1, when I'm 40, that's probably number 8. This is still my value, but I don't, right now, what's happening in the context of my life right now, I don't value it as much because other value came in the priority. So even though your values will not change throughout your life, but they most definitely will change priority. And this matters big time. Big time. So you see, not only you need to know your values, but also the priority of your values at the present moment for yourself. Because whatever you valued 20 years ago, it's very different than what you value right now. For example, I absolutely value adventure. Travel and adventure was in my 20s, was the number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4 priority. All I wanted to do is travel the world and have adventures. And that was uber top priority, and I honored it. I traveled the world. I visited many continents, many countries, over 50 countries. I had the privilege to do that. Now, today I'm 42. Is that value of adventure still is still a value for me? Yes. But if I look at my priority list, my value for adventure is probably number 8 or 9, because my biggest priority right now are my children. So my family is number one right now. I have teenage children, and spending time with them is the number 1, 2, and 3, the most important thing on the planet for me right now. Why is this important? We're getting to the point where somebody asked, how can I honor my value but be flexible with other people? All right, very important. So this is how. If I know that I have 10 values, and number 1 is for me right now spending time with my sons. That's it. Even if number 2 for me is, let's say, working on my coaching or blah blah blah, whatever, I am, because this is number 1 value, I am never flexible on this value. So how am I being flexible and protect my boundary? This is value number 1. So everything else goes around it. Now I can be flexible on adventure. If let's say I need to be flexible with other people and I say no to my value of adventure, I'm okay with that, because it's number 8, right? Or something else, or productivity. I have a value of productivity, but it's not number 1. I can be flexible with other people to meet their values on productivity, because it's not my number 1. But I will never, right now in my life right now, I will never be flexible on my value number 1 right now, which is spending time with my kids. Anything will, this is the most important thing. I agree with myself, say, listen, Leo, you can be flexible on all of this, but this one is a non-negotiable. And that's how you can feel, you can honor your values. You feel like you are honoring your values, and at the same time, you feel like you can be flexible with other people. Okay, so that's how. And by the way, you guys, if you are just joining and you want to rewatch this, I'm recording this on YouTube as we speak. Go here, find my YouTube, subscribe now. If you go here, you're still going to be on the slide. Subscribe to my YouTube, and you will be able to rewatch this workshop in high quality on YouTube as many times as you need it. Okay, but it's extremely important to get clear what your values are. And not only that, understand, make an assessment, even if you know what your values are, assess what is the priority of the values right now. Next step. So this is the next step, is for advanced people. So do we have any advanced people in terms of values, or do you want to be an advanced person in terms of personal values here? If you are, let me know. Now is the time. Let me know, send me a message, say, yes, it's me. Okay, we're talking about how to be aligned, Nala. So if you're just joining, you want to rewatch this, go here, find my YouTube, subscribe, because this is going to be in high definition. And I'm on my YouTube right now. I can see that many of you are already there, joining and subscribing, and I really appreciate it. And the reason why I'm inviting you to subscribe there, because I already have many workshops just like this one on how to overcome the fear of failure, how to do vulnerability right, how to overcome perfectionism, how to love yourself. So many just like this workshop. So you can subscribe and grow. All right, great. So amazing. Let's just see. Perfect, excellent, amazing, great. So we are talking about personal values. Now, if you want to be advanced level, so we said, let's repeat the steps again. Find out what your values are. Find out what the priorities of your values are. And number 3, the very important thing, decide which values you can be flexible on. Remember, thank you, Estelle, so much. Decide what values you want to be flexible on. Remember? So then you say, okay, cool. This is my number 1 value. This is, I'm never going to compromise on this most important thing. But these 5 things, it's okay if I can be flexible. And that's how you can feel in control of your life. And you can say, yes, these values can wait, or no, these values cannot wait. So if I follow these steps, if I follow this type of awareness, then I will always and forever feel in control of my process, feel in control of my life. Because what is alignment? Alignment is, this is important to me. So, okay, there is a story to it. Why alignment is so important for me, guys. So many years ago, I used to work in a workplace, let's say, and it was a very strange environment. So the environment was discrimination. So I worked in an environment where the bosses, the managers in that company, they were discriminative towards a certain nationality. And to me, I have a massive value of equality. To me, all people are equal. I don't care what race, gender, nationality, religion. I don't care. I see humans and I value all humans equally. And in that particular workplace, some people were discriminated against. And I remember sometimes I would leave, and my own job was not difficult, but some days when I was witnessing this abuse, I would leave work with a headache and a backache, and I felt really terrible. I some days I felt nauseous because my value of equality and fairness was being trampled right in front of my eyes, even if I was only a witness, even if that inequality was not done to me. I was witnessing that being done to other people, and my body physically, I would physically become sick from witnessing that kind of behavior. So, no, long story short, of course, I quit that place. Of course, I went and I tried to help the people that were, disempowered in that way. But it was very, very interesting. Now reflecting back, I can totally relate. Lotto says, yeah, it was just my body couldn't take it. Even though I would kind of force myself in my mind, it's like, okay, this job is good for you, but I couldn't stand the abuse towards other people. So, yeah. That to say is that, yes, is the very thing. Yeah, it's true. My body would, even though my mind would talk me into staying there, but my body was like, we're out. We're out. I cannot take any more, any one day of this BS. Okay. You need to open podcast. Thank you. But I have the YouTube. So if you love what you see, just go on YouTube and use YouTube as a podcast. All this live right now is recorded on YouTube. So just go here and find my YouTube, and everybody is there already. Oh my God. Oh my God. Everybody's on YouTube already. That's amazing. Great. Okay. So now let's continue with, now we understand that being, oh, wow, you guys, you're amazing. Everybody's on YouTube. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Great. So next thing, sometimes, okay, I'll take the questions just in a little bit. Let's continue with being aligned. So that was an example where I felt in the workplace, I felt misaligned. So whatever was happening on the outside of me was very contradictory to what was happening inside of me. So my value of fairness was, or equality, was being stepped on, and I couldn't take it, and I quit. Now, when it comes to you being yourself, so the number one aspect of being aligned: honor your values, know your values, understand how you're going to be flexible on them, be in control of that process. Number two, how to be aligned: be yourself. And that is the most generic, the most helpful and unhelpful at the same time, because it's like, what does it even mean to be myself? How much of myself should I even be? Because people usually reply, but if you know my true self, hello, Elaine, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Be yourself, yeah. But people say, like, what does it even mean, Leo, to be myself? Well, I don't even know what myself is. So your true self, being your true self, means, how we go to a work interview and we are trying to pretend that we're better than we are because we don't think that we're good enough. Yeah. And we're trying to, oh, yeah, sure, it's okay for me to stay work late. Although inside you're like, no, it's not okay to stay work late. Yeah, I'm okay with doing this and that. Although inside you say, no, actually it's not okay. So what happens is you accept that role based on showing a version of you that is not the true you. You start working there, and a few months later, what happens? You start hating that job, right? And people are surprised when you show your true self. And the problem is it the problem of that workplace, or the problem of you that you did not show your true self in the first place? Because many people are afraid to show, and that's the same goes for dating. Many men and women, they would when dating, they will try to pretend that they're someone else just because they don't believe that they are good enough. And then after getting married or after becoming boyfriends and girlfriends, they'll say, well, they don't understand me for who I am. Well, of course, when you're pretending to be someone else. So pretending to be someone else might get you short-term something, might get you the job, might get you the girl, might get you the guy. But make no mistake, they are getting into a relationship with you, or you're being hired for who they think you are, for who you're showing. They have no idea how you really are if you're showing them a version of you, a curated version of you, like a an Instagram picture with filters on. When you show that side of you, something which is not genuine and authentic. So what does it mean to be yourself? To be yourself, again, is to show yourself in a whole and someone says that just a second, literally very hard to understand yourself. Every day I discover things in my character. That's a beautiful remark, and I love that, and I would agree with you. But what I mean yourself is show, if you are in the process of discovering yourself, show that. Say, well, I'm still discovering myself. Don't show a facade, a version that does not really exist and is not really you, because that will backfire. That you will end up in a situation where people expect you to be a certain way, but deep inside you're actually different. You're actually a different person. So being aligned is, as much as possible, being aware of who you are and showing up powerfully as yourself. So that's the second side of alignment. So what is this alignment thing? Why is so important? We hear it so much. By being aligned, by being yourself, by showing maybe that you are imperfect, what happens is you set an amazing example of humanity. Why is this important again? Because only by being vulnerably yourself, by being human, can you genuinely connect with other people. And if you are a leader, and you are a leader, you'll have friends, maybe you're a parent, maybe in your organization, maybe you have your business and whatnot, you are a leader already. And when you are a leader, in any kind of circumstances, if you have any hope at influencing other people, you will have to be vulnerable. You will have to show up powerfully as yourself, because that's the only chance you have to deeply and genuinely connecting with other people. And if you are a leader, if you want to influence people, if you want to lead, if you want people to follow you, the only chance you get is by connecting from your heart. And the prerequisite to that, connecting from the heart, it is 100,000% being who you are. Make sense, you guys? So this is what alignment means, basically. This is what alignment means in general. It means be who you are. It means get in touch with your values. It means understand your identity and go and show it to the world. Yeah, go and show it to the world. Great. So thank you so much. Amazing. So what is it that you're taking away so far, you guys? I'm very, very curious. Let's do a little recap. What is it that you are taking so far about alignment? What, maybe an aha moment? Maybe you say, wow, I didn't think about this way. And YouTube as well. Whoever is watching on YouTube, I'd love to hear in the comments, what is it that you uncover for yourself so far? And what is it that you're taking away so far? And for everybody who's joining, if you want to rewatch this, go here, find my YouTube, subscribe, because this is recorded as we speak on YouTube in high resolution, which I'm very happy about. You might see my older videos, which are poor quality, but we've improved the process. All right, I'm very good. Thank you so much. We are trying. Okay, fantastic. What is it that you learned so far about being aligned? And what does it mean to be aligned? All right. So YZ says, what do you think of someone who has more than one personality? YZ, I'm not sure exactly what you mean, but you mean if it's a disorder. If it's just a disorder, I have all my empathy. but I'm not sure exactly what you mean. Could you please be more specific when it comes to that? All right. Be yourself, Madness003 says. Amazing, amazing. You are amazing. You're even more amazing. Great. How to deal with those who don't respect other people's values and get angry and aggressive towards them? Good question, Hodi. So, how to deal with people who don't respect your values and get angry and aggressive towards them? Set boundaries. Meet them with love and empathy, but definitely set boundaries. Do not be aggressive back. Do not fight back, but set healthy, loving boundaries. Your values, it is your job to protect your values, nobody else's job. So if people get angry, it's because of their own feelings and emotions, but you have to, it is your responsibility and your job to protect your values. So make sure you set healthy boundaries. Alain said, I saw about freedom, and do you think freedom has limits? Alain, that's a very good question. I love that so much because there's a lot of talk about freedom, and we don't really even know what freedom is or means and whatnot. So I think I reflected a lot on this question because I often get clients who feel like they don't have freedom and they want freedom. So I took time to reflect what freedom means. So freedom, we wrongly think that freedom is I have no responsibilities. I can do whatever I want, anytime I want. That's freedom. And I realized that that's not really it because happiness, that's not the kind of the freedom that's going to make you happy. And how do I know? Just ask any homeless person. Homeless people don't have responsibilities. They don't have bills to pay. They don't have house. They don't have a job to go to. They're free. They can do whatever they want. But are they happy? I don't think so. So what I realized is what does freedom means in the context of our lives, of people who have families, who have jobs, who have companies, who have businesses, who have employees, who are leaders. What does that freedom look like? So what I realized is that in that context, freedom means when you choose your responsibilities, when you analyze everything that is in your life and you say, right, I choose to be responsible for this, I choose to have this in my life, and the other things that doesn't serve me, I let them go. So in that context, I think freedom is the choice, the conscious choice of your responsibilities in life. So I hope that that replies to your question. All right, great. Okay, great. So I'm just looking at some questions. I like your subject. Thank you so much. And if you'd like to rewatch this, just go here, find my YouTube and subscribe right there. Okay, all right. So I'm just looking for more questions. Be true, be you. Amazing. Great. Amazing. So I'm looking to some more questions, you guys. I'm just taking more questions around alignment, around being aligned, around having that inner peace. Do you have any more questions? So I'll be taking questions right now. What stops you? What do you feel stops you from experiencing that inner peace? I'm curious. What is that you feel it blocks you? Because inner peace is a state of being that is totally created within yourself. Ideally, we should always all feel peace, inner peace, which is not the case, obviously. I don't think, unless you're a Buddhist monk and meditate for 12 hours a day, very few people actually experience a long time, periods of time with inner peace. So I'm curious, what is it? So F9 says, how can I understand myself? That's a great question, a very practical one. So understanding yourself means very easy. Number one, understand your values. Connect with your values. Number two, understand the priority of those values. What's important for you now? Number three, understand what value is the most important and what you can be flexible on. Next, understand your identity. Next, understand what are the core beliefs about yourself and about the world, and what is it that you need to change about that. Next, understand who you want to become or what you are becoming, and how is it that you're growing every day. So those are practical things that you can actually check, and that the totality of all of that represents understanding yourself, understanding your who you are in your whole self. And those are, so when you break it down like that, then it's easy. Oh, then okay, how can I understand my values? Okay, how can I connect with my values? How can I revisit my goals? How can I decide who am I becoming? What is my identity? Okay, so those are things that then when you break them down in small parts, then you can say, okay, let me work on my identity, let me work on my core beliefs, let me work on my spiritual journey, and so on. I hope this helps. Amazing. What is alignment? Very good question. So alignment, as I mentioned in the beginning of this workshop, is when you act in the external world in according to your inner values. A simple, when you respect the rules of your own values. That's it. That's alignment. Simple, very simple. It's the same as you live in the UAE and you respect the rules of UAE. You live in alignment with the law. It's easy, easy. You don't steal, you don't break, you don't do anything that is against the law in the UAE. For example, I'm based in Dubai. Same thing internally. Don't break your own laws and rules, and you'll be forever aligned, period. See what I mean? It's simple. Is it easy now? Maybe not so easy, because maybe people pleasing is present. Maybe you're driven to please people. Maybe you don't know how to say no. Maybe you don't know how to set boundaries, struggle with that. That's a different story. But is it simple? Very simple. And you can be aligned at all times. If you get clear on your values, priorities, all the process that we discussed, you can rewatch it, find here my YouTube. You can rewatch this workshop as many times as you need it. I like your lives. Amro, you're even awesomer. Amro, are you subscribed to my YouTube, I hope? And by the way, guys, there's on YouTube this new feature. It's called Community. So I'm posting different posts and everything there as well. So yeah, it's quite fun. Amazing, 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 amazing. So let's see if we have any more. Okay, guys, and just so you know, I'm not answering any personal questions, and I'm very flattered with all the marriage proposals that I constantly get in the comments. But I'm not answering personal questions, just so you know. And thank you, I'm flattered. I really am. Okay, so Hodi says, what if your values contradict your society's? Whoa, very deep question, and very real, very, very real. What if your values contradict your society's? And that's where the personal dilemma comes in to play. Is it, am I going to follow the society's rules, or I'm going to follow my internal rules? From my experience, unless it's something illegal or harming others or harming yourself, of course, don't ever do that. Never, ever. Don't ever harm anybody, disrespect anybody, harm yourself. Never do that. But my intuition tells me that following your personal values is always more important than society's values, as long as it does not come at the disturbance or pain or disrespect towards other people and hurting or disrespect or yourself, unless it's that or illegal or anything of those kinds. Let's be reasonable here. But when we talk about morals, your personal values are always more important to follow for yourself than society's rules, 100%. Okay, because societal rules are external, right? And we see many transformation, and societal rules are external. They're not, even if they're there, doesn't mean they're perfect. It's very simple. Let's look back in the US with the racism or in South Africa. And that was literally what, 50, 60, 70 years ago. Those were society's rules. Black people were completely, terribly discriminated, horribly, in the US, and in South Africa, even worse. You see what I mean? And those were society's rules, society's values at that time, societal norm. That's why people had the right, and oh my God, how insane is that? To disrespect the people of color. How insane was that? You see what I mean? Or don't even talk about the Second World War, what they did to Jewish, whatever, discriminated races. So societal rules, they're not always good. They're not always, doesn't mean if they're there, they are, by the book. So I would say your personal values first. That's just my personal opinion. Uh, all right, great. But make no mistake to never impose your values on others. Anna, that's absolutely correct. I love that a lot. Yes, it's all about it's all about keeping that balance and keeping that respect. All right. Amazing. So I hope this, guys, is valuable for you. We're talking about alignment. So alignment, few basic rules. Let's do a little recap. Make sure that you are aware of your values, connect with your values. Make sure that you know the priority of your values and the values that you want to be flexible on. And the other part of being aligned is make sure that you show up as your true self. There's no value in pretending to be someone else. Because guess what? You're only going to end up feeling like you're misunderstood, nobody understands you, and nobody really appreciates you for who you are. But that's the very reason, because you don't show the world who you really are. So it's extremely important to make sure that you keep that awake and aware within yourself. But values come from your place. Amro says, values comes from your experience, from your background, but values can also be instilled. Let's say if you want to cultivate the value, if you don't have a value, let's say you want to cultivate the value of being punctual, on time. Let's say if all your life you're not being on time, say this does not serve me, I want to become a punctual person. Then you adopt that value and you start cultivating, you start becoming that person who is punctual. So yes and no, values come from where you're from your family, but you also can create your own set of values. Say, hey, this is the person I want to become. So hence I'm going to adopt that and I'm going to respect that, and that's how I'm going to become. Practice, Kasem. Yes, beautiful. Absolutely, 100%. You practice your values and you become that person and you build it into your identity. What's the difference between beliefs and values? Hodi, very, very good question. Very good question. So beliefs are more about how the world is. Let's say a belief is the world is, some people believe that the world is life is a struggle. A belief is I'm not good enough. Negative beliefs. A belief is everybody's out there to get me. A belief is life is an adventure. A belief is I am capable of anything. Value is family, honesty, punctuality, hard work, respect. You see? So value usually comes in one word, a belief comes in more words, if that, and is more general, if that makes sense. I hope this makes sense, you guys. So I'm just gonna say goodbye to YouTube because I'm out of battery. Thank you so much for being here, YouTube, and we'll see you next time. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to subscribe. Have a good one. Bye-bye.